Hello and welcome. I'm Andy Jones, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Last Ride of the Day by Nightwish. And I know that the majority of reactors tend to take the Wacken version of the song to look at, but I like to be a little bit different, and I'm going to be taking a look at the Rock in Rio performance of Last Ride of the Day because it features Tony Kakko from Sonata Arctica. And I remember watching Tony's performance together with Tarja on From Wishes to Eternity when they performed Beauty and the Beast together, and I really liked his voice. And it's just great to see that so many years later he still occasionally performs individual songs with Nightwish. So here he's performing Last Ride of the Day, which is a track from the Imaginarium album, which was originally sung by Annette, of course, on the album. And in this performance he and Floor perform this together, and Marco is also adding vocals to it. So from my point of view, it's really interesting to see these kind of vocal harmonies layered together on stage, which is why I've chosen this version. It's not that I don't appreciate the Wacken version, I love that version too, but this adds a little something that I think is worth checking out. So yeah, this is going to be Rock in Rio with Nightwish performing Last Ride of the Day. Let's do this.
Why don't we recognize the faces loving us? So what's God, if not the spark that started life's my love, stranger, sweet music starts.
Okay, I'm going to come back in and we're going to check out the movements into the next part in a second when Floor joins in. But we need to talk about that first part first. And, you know, I couldn't resist a bit of air keyboard because I'm a keyboardist as well. What Thomas is doing there is really cool, but it's also not easy. He's playing really, really fast on his left hand, and then he's playing the melody on his right hand. And that's quite hard to keep up for a long time. So that's a smashing start to the song. Then the whole band comes in, and, you know, this is one of those songs where, you know, Kai's playing on this version, and you may be used to Jukka playing on the drums, and I love Jukka's playing as well. You know, I love the energy he puts into his playing, and I also love Kai though. I have nothing to complain about in his playing at all here. If I had my eyes closed, I probably couldn't tell who of the two was playing this particular song. There are other songs where I really know that it's Jukka and I know that it's Kai, whereas this one, I'm not sure I would. It's all visual, I think, in recognizing Jukka's playing on this particular song. But we'll see about that. We'll see. Now we get into the vocal part, and it's Tony who starts singing. So that's perhaps an adjustment to make for those of you that aren't used to hearing him start the song rather than Floor, or indeed Annette. But I'm trying to remember whether I've ever heard a Nightwish song where the very first two lines are as deep lyrically as these ones. You know, we live in every moment but this one. And already it's like, wow, yeah, you know, we're forgetting to seize the day. And that's already a really deep start to the vocals. Often, you know, the depth comes later on as you build it up, but here, right from the gate. And then the second line, you know, why don't we recognize the faces loving us so? And this, to me, you know, it resonates a lot because it's so easy to become distracted by all of the other things in life, like social media, like technology, and to forget those around us that are just waiting for our attention. And, you know, I'm a dad of 3 kids. I have to find that balance as well. And I'm lucky I do recognize those faces, and I love spending time with my kids. And, you know, I guess that's a lesson that a lot of us learn perhaps later than we could, that we get invested in other things too much and forget about those close to us. So really cool message right at the beginning there. Okay, and yeah, as you carry on with the lyrics, what's God if not the spark that started life? Smile of a stranger, sweet music, starry skies. Okay, slight shift there lyrically from the very deep beginning to the second part, which kind of introduces the more inspirational things that we can enjoy in life. So the smiles of a stranger, the sweet music, the starry skies, these are all things that we sometimes miss out on if we take our focus away from mindfulness and what's around us to, distractions on a phone, for example. That's just the way that I perceive it. Okay, but great from Tony so far. His voice sounds beautifully fitted to the song. No complaints at all. It's great. So let's just head back a little bit and see what happens when Floor joins in.
Loving us so, what's God, if not the spark that started life's my love, a stranger, sweet music, starry skies, wonder, mystery, wherever my road goes, early wake ups in the moving homes at dawn, a fresh moon, grass in the morning sun, open, deep heart, makes me discover.
Okay, and we'll come back to that chorus very soon, but for the moment, wow, what a bop. It's really got that groove, and much of this is thanks to Marco's bass. From the very beginning when the kind of band kicks in there, it's really kind of constant, it's, what is it? It's like a pump. It's like the heartbeat of the song, and you've heard enough reactors talk about Marco's bass tone already. I'd be copying them if I just went into too much detail on it, but it just sounds fantastic. And on my headphones the whole time, it's just there as a constant, and it just sounds fantastic. So then you've got Floor and Tony already doing these great harmonies, and what kind of caught me as I was listening to this, you'd normally think that Floor would be doing the higher harmony and Tony would be doing the lower one. That's kind of the stereotypical thinking there. But actually, no. Floor is singing the normal vocal melody, and Tony just happens to have jumped an octave and a bit to do the higher harmony over there. That's a huge jump to make very, very spontaneously between his vocal part and then the harmony with Floor's. So you've got a vocalist who really knows what he's doing there with his harmonies, as well as Floor, who we already know really knows what she's doing. So fantastic combination of voices there. Okay, and of course the lyrics, just to look at those quickly. Wonder, mystery, wherever my road goes, early wake-ups and a moving home. So just talking about, I don't know whether this connection is really there to kind of the circus that they had in the Imaginarium tour, that they're kind of thinking about this perspective of somebody who's on the road all the time and appreciating the things around them mindfully rather than all the distractions. I don't know if that's where it's going. But then we have this open theme park gates waiting for, and then we've got this pre-chorus part that Tony sings here alone, riding the day every day into sunset and finding the way back home. Perhaps it is about this moving lifestyle. What I also find really interesting with the way Tony sings this, at the end of here he sings finding the way back home, but he doesn't sing home, he sings home. He moves the O to an R. Perhaps this is also because it's the ease of placing the vowel to sing this kind of long note. An O versus an R enables you to open the mouth up wider. Perhaps it's similar to what Floor sometimes does when she moves an E to an air. This is something that you get taught, for example, in CVT, to place your vowels more easily to allow you to play more with the notes. So perhaps that's what he's doing. Perhaps it's also just a stylistic thing for him. I'm not sure, because it's not that high a note that he necessarily needs to work very hard to produce that. I do love the vibrato at the end, though. He's got a really strong vibrato at the end of his voice, and some people, that's a question of taste. Some people don't like too much of it, but I think it sounds great here. Okay, let's get into the chorus. I want to go back and listen to that chorus again in a minute, because I just love it. there's a few really interesting things there. Firstly, you've got those three voices together, starting the chorus, singing exactly the same thing. And you hear every single voice. Beautifully mixed. And then, partway through, Tony starts veering off at the end of every line and putting a harmony in between. And that's the kicker for me in this song, or in this version of this song. Tony adds a harmony line that is not very prominent in the backing vocals that you'd normally hear when Floor sings it alone or when Annette sings it alone. But with the addition of Tony, the lead vocals have this harmony that I love. I think it's beautiful, and I miss it when it's not there anymore. So if I go back to listen to Floor's version, I'm kind of hearing Tony in my head singing that line. And, you know, I didn't know I missed it until I heard it. But it's beautiful. It's great. And I love it. It should be there all the time. The other thing that I really found interesting, and I hadn't noticed until I saw this video, in the middle of the chorus, you'll see the camera pan to somebody's hand doing picking. And initially I thought, okay, you know, Marco doesn't usually do finger picking, he usually uses a pick. And then I realized, wait a second, that's not a bass, that's a guitar. Empu is doing finger plucking in the chorus on his guitar, which is something that doesn't happen very often with guitarists in general. So that's really interesting. And then partway through, he kind of, you know, takes the pick out of his hand where he's pocketed it and carried on with the strumming. So that's really interesting to me. It's not something I noticed kind of from hearing it, that was what was happening, but you can see that's what's going on. So I'll take you back and we'll watch this chorus again, because that's really cool.
Dead boy, enter adventure like tricksters, magicians will show you all that you jealous, choppers, snake charmers, bios, the magic of the moment. Waiting, running every day, the something finding my way back home.
I'm having too much fun watching this. Yeah. So firstly, we have to talk about Marco's last ride of the day at the end of the chorus there. I'm not going to try and simulate it because it's so high and it's early in the day for me. That, I mean, what are we going to do without Marco? Can we have a recording of Marco doing that for all of the live shows so that we don't have to miss it, please? Is that okay? Or can all the audiences just do it where Marco did it? Or will Nightwish produce, I mean, they've written about a session bassist, but a session bassist doesn't sound like a new Marco. Doesn't sound like someone who's going to do the bass and the second vocals and the guitar parts that Marco used to do, you know. Will that happen? I don't know. Marco seems a little bit too replaceable to me for that, but, you know, we need to have that somehow. It's going to be empty without that, right? As great a song as it is, in general. Then we go into the second verse and we start with this "Wake Up, Dead Boy," and you know that could be a hearkening back to the Dead Boy from Dead Boy's poem, of course. It could be, you know, a kind of message from Thomas to himself to kind of wake up, to enter the adventure land. The next line, I don't know. I don't know whether it's kind of his message to himself to embrace the moment or something like that, or to not worry too much about the other things around him. I don't know. But yeah, I like the kind of magic references and the circus references, you know, jugglers, snake charmers, tricksters, magicians, magic of a moment, abracadabra at the end. That's cute. Okay, not much more to say about that because the verse is pretty much the same as it was before. I do like the double time snare in the pre-chorus moving into the chorus. They're just adding that bit of extra pressure there. But okay, let's carry on. Second chorus, let's do it. We're going to get to the start of that guitar solo in a second, but for a moment, can we just appreciate how happy they all look? Really, like the smiles between Empu and Tony and between Flor and Marco, they're just infectious. So infectious. And even, you know, at the back there, Kai's singing along to bits of it. They all just look so happy. And that makes me happy. Alongside how well they are playing this. And again, you get some really cool camera angles of Empu doing that picking and then going back into the strumming in the middle of the chorus. So I'm going to take you back a little bit further and you can just watch that as well, because it's really fun to watch Empu doing this finger picking on his electric guitar. Great. Okay, let's take it back a bit. Nope, we're going to talk about this some more because there's just a couple of other things I noticed and I forgot to mention. So you saw the switcheroo between finger picking and then grabbing his pick from the end of his guitar and carrying on. One thing that's really, really cool at the end of the chorus there is when Tony's got his arm around Empu and they're singing together, you notice that Empu can actually play and carry on moving up his fretboard without even bothering to use his right hand. He's just moving the notes up with enough force in his left hand that it becomes audible that he's changed chords. And doesn't even need to bother using his pick to kind of push the sound out further. That's really cool as well. Also that really long held last ride of the day at the end of the chorus together, all three of them, really cool harmonies again. Also, I just want to talk about the lyrics in the chorus a little bit. We've not done that yet. Once upon a night we'll wake to the carnival of life, the beauty of this ride ahead, such an incredible high. And one of my favourite lines of the song, I can't say it's my favourite because I love the first two as well. It's hard to light a candle, easy to curse the dark instead. Love it. It's sometimes easier to complain about what's not going well than to actively do a little something to contribute to the solution. Lighting a candle is actually a really easy thing to do, but if you're too busy, preoccupied, cursing the dark, you forget that you can actually do something really simple to solve that problem. If you've not got any candles, you can't do that, sure, but if you've got them, there you go. And it's sometimes easy for us to get lost in negativity about what we can't change and forget that we can make little changes that make a huge difference. So that is one of my favourite lines, and it's one that I sometimes kind of recall in everyday life when things are bothering me. Yeah, but it's hard to light a candle, it's easy to curse the dark. Love it. Just one of my favourite Nightwish lines of all time, I think. Alongside the first two. But yeah, this moment, the dawn of humanity, the last ride of the day. Great. Okay, I've talked enough about this part of the song now. Let's carry on. you need me to tell you anything about Empu's solo and how it's amazing and how it's perfectly placed and how he doesn't really overdo it? You know, he shows a bit what he can do there with the faster solo melody, and then he just holds on that one really long note at the end, uses his whammy bar there. Yeah, there's never been an Empu solo I haven't loved. And this one, you know, classic example, just great Empu. Comes forward for his, 30 seconds, not even probably, and pulls off a fantastic solo, and then just carries on. Great. So there they're getting the crowd going as well, and you know it's also Marco who's contributing massively towards pumping the crowd up a little bit. Yeah, fantastic. So let's move in to the last part of the song. You know what, I'm going to come in and we're going to go back and watch this chorus again because I just love it. But also, you know, firstly, just looking at the fans' faces when they get zoomed in on this, they're so happy. And I don't know, with some of the songs that Nightwish have brought out that are very, very emotional, really sad, you know, there's some really poignant lyrics in some of Nightwish's songs. And then you contrast them with this one, which means that Thomas knows how to have fun. And so do they all, right? Just look even at Kai's face at the back while he's playing and kind of laughing with Empu. They're loving this. And I don't know, I'd like to see just a couple more songs in the set with Nightwish where they have this kind of fun, where they concentrate on the positive, right? It doesn't have to be lots and lots, but yeah, a little bit of that, that's great. Okay, so I'm going to take us back and look at a bit more of that. And there you go. I mean, that's an end to a song, right? Again, Tony's harmonies really do it for me in this song. I wouldn't have known that I missed them had I not heard this version, but they're so cool. And the vibrato in his voice as well just adds something that really has value to the song. And, you know, the song was wonderful before this. There was no complaint at all at my end about the song until I heard this and I thought, wow, that fits so well. And I just really appreciate this version because of that. And the end as well, you know, where all three of them holding on long, high notes, building up the tension as each of them join. You know, first it was Marco, then it was Tony, then it was Floor. The three of them just built it up. A wonderful end to a song. Just, This song is kind of like the full package for me in Nightwish, and it's not one of the longer songs. You know, it's not one of the big epic ones, but it's one of those songs that just has everything we need, and it's great. Okay, that was Last Ride of the Day, but in a little twist, I'm not done. because I know that in the chat there's going to be people saying, but Wacken, but Wacken, but Wacken, that's the version, that's the right version. And you know, over on the Night Dreamers Reactor side server, where I'm having such fun kind of interacting with other fans, but also other creators, we've been talking about, you know, how there's often the view that there is the right version. There isn't. There's lots of really cool versions, and that's why they're out there. You know, there's nothing wrong with Rock in Rio, even though there is also Wacken. They're both great. And I just want to keep those people happy, though, that say, but Wacken, they're going to want to see Wacken, so we're going to watch Wacken as well. So we're going to enjoy Yuka playing as well. And we'll see if there's anything else fun that we notice in that version that we didn't notice in this one. All right, we won't spend as much time on it as we have here, but I want to keep everybody happy. So let's head over to Wacken. Let's do it. Okay. Here we are in Wacken. In 2013, we've travelled back in time a few years, and that's okay. One thing that is good to know about this, though, is that Last Ride of the Day is the closer to the set in Wacken. So there is a bit of an outro to all of this, you know, the usual kind of end of show outro on the stage where they all come out and say goodbye to the fans. We may watch a bit of that, I don't know. Let's see how we get on with the actual song first, and maybe I'll have a chat with you over the closing credits there at the end. Let's see. Let's enjoy Last Ride of the Day in Wacken 2013. Let's do this.
Wacken Open Air! Let us thank you! With you we've immortalized this special evening, and I think that DVD is gonna kick ass! With an audience like you guys, what more can we wish for? Thank you so much.
Yeah, baby, I agree.
But even to the most magical nights like these, to the most wonderful stories, even to fairy tales, everything comes to an end. But if you've had a beautiful story, let's just add one more good memory to this evening and make a final ride together. How is that? Let's get ready for the last ride! The last ride of the day!
Ride hard!
Before we've even started there, let's just take a moment to appreciate these two fantastic personalities at the front of the stage who've got this huge audience in the palm of their hands. And of course they have. They've been playing to them for goodness knows how long. You know, they've been interacting this whole time. But Floor is this amazing storyteller, and she's great at captivating the audience's attention, keeping them with her. Marco as well, just adding that burst of energy as the song's starting there. Both really great at that, and really great at complementing each other with that as well. They're a fantastic team. So again, Marco. But who knows? Maybe somebody else will be on the stage that can do that as well. We don't know yet. But what a start to the song. Okay, let's do it.
Ride hard!
And before we get into the words and the vocals, can we just appreciate all those special effects? I won't tell you much about them because there's other content creators like that Tank the Tech who are really experts in this and can tell you all about the pyrotechnics. But yeah, amazing visuals. And of course, beautifully mixed. I mean, it is Wacken, but still beautifully mixed. Okay, let's jump in.
Recognize the faces loving us. So what's God if not the sport that started life's my love, a stranger, sweet music, starry.
Okay, so now I've got this version where Floor's taking the lead at the beginning because there is no Tony here now, and this is in keeping with the original version with Annette, where you know, there's just one vocalist, and there's Marco to do some lower register in the chorus, so to double up with a lower octave. But it's a one lead vocalist song. So what I really like about Flor in this version is the body language and the way she kind of very slightly adjusts her intonation a little bit to place emphasis on the important words and phrases. Really cool and just very expressive. Okay, great.
In our soul, what's God, if not the spark that started life's my love, a stranger, sweet music, starry sky, magic, mystery, wherever life goes, early, wake ups, in the broken homes and out, fresh bone, glass in the morning sun, open, think part, it's where it goes.
Okay, so really good performance vocally from Flor. What else did we expect, honestly? What I also want to mention, and I didn't mention this in the earlier version that we looked at, later version, the version we looked at earlier, which was a later version, the way that Empu keeps that riff going, which is slightly against the actual rhythm of the song, but that's intended to be so, and it fits really, really well. There's been a whole lot of thought gone into how they put this together, and yeah, fits perfectly. Okay. You know, in this chorus there's so much happening that you can't really hear the bass as well as you can in the verses where it's a more dominant part. But you can see how busy Marco's hands are in the chorus. And you hear it somewhere as well intuitively, but you can't make it out as well. But just watch how busy his hands are when he's playing there under the chorus. And he's also, you know, singing at the same time. And, you know, if this were the only version of this you'd heard live, you wouldn't miss Tony's part at all. It's, you know, doubled up octave between Flor and Marco singing it, and it sounds fantastic. I do miss Tony's line now. I hear it in my head as well, because I really do think it adds something wonderful to it. But it's great as it is, right? Okay, and also these visuals at Wacken, they're fantastic. So if you're looking at the kind of all-round performance that has the most, you know, with these pyros, the lighting, the stage visuals, the mix, of course Wacken's going to take it. But if you're looking at the arrangement of the song itself, I really love that addition of Tony. So if we had Tony here at Wacken, this would probably be the ultimate version for me. Okay, let's carry on. And we'll come back to the solo in a second. You know, couple of things that are really appreciated here. At the end of the pre-chorus, you know, finding the way back home, you hear that Floor goes up then with the home rather than down, which is what happened in the first pre-chorus and which Tony did as well. So lovely variation there to add a new impact to it and to push it a little bit more. I also love the way that Floor runs around to Thomas at the keyboard, because poor old Thomas, he's kind of stuck there, you know, chained to his keyboard. And I had this problem as well. I used to be a front man who played keyboard for quite a long time, and I was stuck there kind of in the middle of the stage, and I couldn't really go anywhere because I had to play at the same time I was singing, so I couldn't really run around a lot. And of course, Thomas is not the front man, he doesn't have that problem, but it's always great if a band member, and Empu does this a lot as well, runs over to him, just interacts with him so that he's got that interaction level in there. I always really enjoy that when people, whether it's the front person or somebody else, just does that and, you know, kind of runs over to the other band members that can't move and includes them. So I really enjoy that. Okay, let's carry on. Was it just me, or was Empu's solo in this version a little bit fancier than the one in Rock in Rio? There were a few more kind of, little tonal alterations there that he's using. He's not got a whammy there, but he's maybe doing something with his whammy bar that's adding a little bit more variety at the end of the solo. Also, you know, we've got all the way through the song here, but we haven't really talked about Yucca all that much, and, you know, Yucca is just a pleasure to watch, and he's also a pleasure to listen to. But I have to, you know, stick by what I said before, which is that this is one of those songs where I could close my eyes and I wouldn't really be all that sure who's playing it, except for knowing the version that I'm listening to. But if you took me today into a studio and sat me down, and one or the other of them sat down behind the drum kit and played this, I'm not sure I'd know. With other songs, I really, really would, but this is one of those songs, it's just great all the way through. The drum parts aren't massively complicated, it's just a great bop of a beat, and I'm not sure I would know. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into this last part of the song. Now, was that enough fireworks for you? What an end to the show, eh? So I'm going to just turn this down a little bit. We'll keep it going, but we'll talk over it as well. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Fantastic double chorus at the end, we know about that. And some of those effects, some of those pyros were so loud that you can even hear them in the mix. Over the chorus, so they've obviously, you know, spared no expense. They've made sure that everything is there to pull off a fantastic show. At the end there, the last ride of the day, at the very end, you notice Marco sings that all by himself. Floor doesn't join in for that very last note, which he did in Rio, which was a great addition. Doesn't, you know, it's not missing here, but it's fantastic. Yuka, you know, I was so sad when Yuka stepped down, but I'm really happy that they've got Kai. You know, like, if Yuka can't be there, then I can't think of anyone better than Kai. So, yeah, always happy to see Yuka when I watch him again. And of course, it's sad that he can't be playing with the band anymore, even though he's still close to the band and involved in the management there. Of course, it's always sad to not see him anymore, and I guess it's going to be the same with Marco now. It's always going to be sad to not see him in the future, but we've got these videos, we've got these shows that we can watch back on. And you know, what a band in terms of audience interaction. The way that they, you know, come out at the end, they don't kind of just run up the stage and be done for the night. They make sure that they spend time with the audience. They're throwing things out to them. They're taking the time to applaud each other. You know, there's Troy. He didn't play in last ride of the day, but you know, there he is to get his applause as well. Yeah, very happy audience, and you know, we can be privileged to live in a time when all this is possible. When you can get this level of quality of filming, but also of the stage setup with the light and the effects, the camera work. So yeah, we can just be really happy that we've got this to look back on. Yeah, it belongs in a time capsule somewhere, I think. Okay, I've talked enough over the closing credits. You know, the rest of it, if you've got the DVD, you'll see it. If you haven't, it's on YouTube as well. But of course, I'd recommend you buy the DVD, support the band a bit, and yeah, check out the rest of this. But for now, I think we've talked about all we need to talk about. So let's just head into my little outro before we say goodbye. Whew. Well, that took a bit longer than I thought it would. It was very spontaneous to include the Wacken version as well, and to have two versions of Last Ride of the Day for a double reaction. So, you know, if you're wondering why I was only talking about the one at the beginning, that's why. It was just a last-minute addition, let's call it. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad we had both versions to look at and to compare, because, you know, we've got Floor at the front in both of them. Most of the musicians are the same. You know, of course, there's the change in drummer, and there's the addition of Tony in the Rock and Rio version. And, you know, just watching Tony in that version it really motivates me to check out Sonata Arctica more. It's not something I've done thus far. I've seen occasional individual songs and enjoyed them, but never really had the motivation to do a deep dive, and I think that might be coming up before too long when I get into actually doing reactions. And speaking of that, I've developed a bit of a plan now. You know, right now I'm doing okay in getting my subscribers on YouTube. I've got around 300 over the last couple of weeks, but my plan is to get up to 1,000, because that unlocks a bunch of community features on the YouTube channel which make it much easier for me to interact with you. And that's something I'm really aiming for. I'd like to be able to have a really interactive YouTube channel. So I'd invite you, if you haven't already, to subscribe, because when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to start doing live streams. And in my first live stream, my 1,000 subscriber live stream, I'm going to firstly look at the Poet and the Pendulum, because that's one that's been requested quite a few times, and it's one that I'm eager to look at from a review point of view. And secondly, I'm going to start doing some of the reactions you've been requesting. So these are songs that I haven't listened to before, in contrast to all of the songs I've been looking at on my channel as reviews so far. So I'll be doing actual reactions for the very first time in my first live stream. And on top of that, I'll play just a couple of my own songs, so you become familiar with what it is I normally do. And maybe, you know, that'll connect you to my music a bit. Maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you won't, and that's okay too. But there's a chance there in that first live stream, right? And of course, we'll have an opportunity to interact with each other a bit more there too. So thank you if you've tuned in to watch this at the premiere. Thank you if you tuned in to watch it afterwards. I hope you'll stay in contact with the channel by subscribing. Please remember to do that, and hit the bell if you'd like to be notified about new premieres, so that you can join me in the live chat when the new videos come out. Also, don't forget to connect with me on my social media channels up there. You can see that I'm Andy Jones Official on a bunch of different other platforms, and it's worth connecting with me there as well, particularly on Instagram, because I'm doing some polls on Instagram right now that I can't be doing on YouTube until I've hit that community function at 1,000 subscribers. So do connect with me, and I look forward to the next time we meet again. Until then, Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye.